All right, so for these, it's kind of we're going to do what's called the slope-intercept form. So the slope-intercept form, m is what we call the slope, right? So the slope, m is what we call the slope, but in these problems, it's like the rate of change. So it's something per something rate of change. And then the B term, and we'll put that in a different color so it'll make a little more sense. The B is kind of like the initial value. So we're going to start off with some value. Initial value. I think that's about right. We're going to start off with some initial value. So my cell phone bill is $20 a month plus, they don't do that anymore, but plus, what would be a good example of that? I signed up for a gym class. I get, I pay $20 a month plus $5 a spa treatment or something, whatever the case is. Okay. And so once we get that information, once we set up the equation, then there's some other stuff we can do. So let's look at the first example, and maybe it'll make sense. So an Uber driver charges Eric $8 a flat rate fee. Okay. That doesn't change per something. It's not a rate of change. It's a flat rate fee. That's the initial. Before you go anywhere, you're going to pay $8. Now, the next term, a rate of, let me change the color so it makes a little more sense. Let me change this to blue too. I'll change this to blue. So this is my B term because it's an initial value. And then the next line says rate of. This is M. That's the rate of change. So this is the rate of change. And B is the initial value, sometimes referred to as the y-intercept. Okay. And it says, how far can Eric go for $29? Well, let me do that in a different color. So what I got to do is I got to set this up for an equation and solve. So $29 is the final amount. Okay. So think in terms of y equals mx plus b. Okay. Well, 29 is my y value. That's what I'm going to have at the end of this. And that's equal to m, which is $3, times x plus b, which is the $8. Yep, you got it. Now, how do I solve that? Well, my goal is to make x x equal some stuff. So how do I do that? Well, I need to move stuff away from the x. So to move stuff away from the x, I gotta do the opposite mathematically. You can, but let me give you a little tip. You're right, you would divide 3, but that's almost always the last step. So we need to move the 8. What's the opposite of adding 8?
Subtracting.
Yeah, so I'm going to subtract 8. Whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other. And now, see why we divide. The reason we like to do that almost always last is because now it's easier. Otherwise, I'd have to divide this by 3, divide this by 3, then it's a lot of work. What's 21 divided by 3?
6.
Close.
7.
Yep, 7. So B's our answer on that one. Okay? All right, let's try. I'll give you a second to write that down. I write really fast, so if I
wrote everything.
okay, if I go
Oh,
too
I forgot
fast,
the X.
yeah, X equals stop. So I have most of this work here. I think I'm gonna erase it though and just re-explain it because I don't believe I have a video for this. Do I have a video for this? Page 26? No, I do not. So we're gonna record the video. Let me erase this real quick. Select some of these things. All right. So for this one, it says a plumber charges a flat fee. So the flat fee is $60. That's my B term. Then he charges for a visit $45 per hour. So whenever you see per something or they say a rate of, that's always your M. Okay. It says, how much would he make if he works for 7 hours? Okay, so now this one's a little tricky because the 7 hours is either an X or a Y. How you decide is based on the equation itself. So we're going to have this equation y equals mx plus b, right? Y is the output. That's like the total. X is the input. So when we say he charges $60 flat rate plus $45 per hour, and it says how much does he make if he works 7 hours? Is the total the 7 hours, or is the 7 hours going to be multiplied by the unit rate?
Probably multiplied.
Yeah. So this is technically the X. And if you're not sure, you could just start filling in the numbers and see what makes sense. So this is 45 times X. What does X represent? The hours, right? It's 45 per hour, right? So he's going to do 7 hours plus the flat rate fee of 60. 45 times 7 plus 60. Oh boy, let me do it by hand. Oh man, I gotta think. 45 times 7. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry the 3. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 3 is 31. Now this one they'd probably give you. Wait. 4 times 7. Did I screw something? Oh, we got to add the 60 to it. Whew. So this becomes 315 plus 60. Now this one they'd probably give you a calculator. I don't know for sure, but probably. Oops, I still did it wrong. So what's 315 plus 60?
375.
So that's this one. The irony is that we had the answer circled when we started this. Oh, okay. Do you have that all written down?
Yes.
All right, cool. Let's do the next one. I need to just go ahead and select all these and just get rid of them. Way up there. All right. So for this next one, it says that I wanted to buy T-shirts for my students. The T-shirts cost $14 each. B or M? Well, let's.
M.
Yeah. Why'd you say M? It's like a per unit rate, right? Let me change the color so we're consistent. So this would be my M. And then the next thing says the shipping fee is $40.
So that would be B.
Mm-hmm. And it says, how many shirts can I buy for 500? Is that the input or the output?
The input.
Well, let's see. We'll see. So I'm going to say Y equals MX plus B. I know that Y is equal to 14 times X plus 40. Okay?
Oh.
What,
Oh.
what do you mean, oh?
Because it would not be the input, it would be the output.
Yeah. And see, so if you're not sure, I noticed that once I wrote it out, you were like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
500 is the total amount. This whole thing has to add up to 500. So, yeah, good call. Yep. So this is technically the Y. That's the output, right? That's the total amount.
Yes.
So I've got 14x plus 40. What would we do first?
Would we subtract 40
Mm-hmm.
on both sides?
You got it. These cancel, and think. This is 460 is equal to 14x. I gotta divide both sides by 14, right? So I will write it over here. 460 is equal to 14x. Divide both sides by 14. Oh boy, I gotta use my big brain on this one. Over here to the side, 4d60. All right. I think 14 goes into 46 3 times. I could be wrong. Let's see. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. Subtract 42 from 6. I get 4. Bring the 0 down. I know that's going to go in 2 times. 2 times 14. 2 times 4 is 8. Carry. Oh, no, there's nothing to carry. 2 times 1 is 2. Borrow a 1. That's 12. Put another 0. That becomes 120. 14 goes into 120. I don't know, 8 times. It's more than 5. Would it be 8? 80 plus 32. Yeah, I think so. So 4 times 8 is 32. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 3 is 11. So it's 32.8, and then the decimals keep going. How many shirts can I buy? Can I buy 0.8 shirts? So we got to decide if we're doing 32 or 33.
We're gonna do 33. No. Because 0.8 when they go.
I got to think about that, right? This is the number of shirts evenly. Can I buy 0.8?
Oh, so you only can buy 32.
Yeah, we can only buy 32. Yep, good guess. Good call. Everybody's got the sniffles.
Yeah.
That's going to get me sick. Yeah, right here. Okay, let's do this next one. I think it's something in the ear.
Yeah, my whole house is sick.
No, I don't think it's, I mean, like, there's something like agitating my nose, like an allergy or something. All right. Let's do the next one real quick. It says the Grand River is at a flood stage with a height of 34 feet. I don't know what that means. It's a rate of 1/2 a foot. So we have a rate, that's my M, 1/2 a foot per day. Which equation can be used to find the height of the river, H, after 7 days?
That one just kind of confused me a little bit. Because I know it says the rate of, but what does it have per day after?
I think this is B. But because it drops, instead of adding a 1/2 a foot, what would you do?
Subtract.
Yeah, subtract. So let's think about that. I think it's negative 1/2 per day, right? And we'll just say that day is X. Usually the per whatever is the X value. So we're subtracting that. Well, what are we subtracting that from? 34. But we would write it this way because this is the rate and this is B. Well, this equals Y.
Why did you put the plus sign in? Are we adding?
Yeah, so, well, because that's how they have it written up here. So, the 1/2 is negative 1/2 because it decreases.
Oh, yeah.
But the height of the flood stage is 34 feet. So the Grand River is at 34 feet, but it drops. Okay. And by the way, so think of it like this. If I say -2 plus 5, or if I say 5 minus 2, they still equal 3, right? If we did the number line thing, they still equal 3, right? So it doesn't matter. In fancy math terms, that means that addition is commutative. A fancy way to say, what's 2 plus 3?
5.
What's 3 plus 2? 5. So it doesn't matter what order we put them in. And subtraction is really just adding a negative number. So it doesn't matter what order we put them in. Okay. So when somebody asks you what you learned tonight, you just go, oh. The commutative property of addition. Oh, pinky's up. All right, so now I know that days is X. So this has to be 1/2 times 7, right? Because that's how many days they told us. But what does this all represent? The height of the water after 7 days. Which one is that? Is that number 1? Is that A?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Oh, that's the answer?
Yeah. What did I circle before?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the answer. All right, let's move on to number 4. I have $700 to spend. Each lesson costs $45. Now that one's tricky because it could be 45 per lesson, but we don't know yet. We got to keep reading. There is a one-time registration fee of $100. Well, that is very clear. That's B. And 45, it's like $45 per lesson, right?
Right.
So what would lesson be?
It would be M.
Well, 45 would be M, but what would lesson be? If it's 45 per lesson,
so would it be the Y?
It'd be the X.
Oh.
Well, we'll come back to that. So it says, how many lessons can I take? So the Y is actually the 700. Well, let's say we don't know what the Y is. We know that M is 45, so we say 45 x plus the $100 fee, right? Does that make sense to you? Okay. Where does that 700 go? Is that the y or the x?
It's the y.
So now we got to solve for x. What do I do first?
You would subtract 100 from both sides.
Do you have a question for me? Come around here, over here, so I can see your thing. Let me finish this one thing real quick. So I got 600 equals 45x, right? Now what?
You would divide 45 on both sides.
Oh man, I gotta put on my big brain here. 45 goes into 60 one time. 60 minus 45 is 15. Drop down to 0. I feel like that's 3 times. 3 times 5 is 5. Carry the 1. Well, it's 15, but we carry the 1. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 13. Oh, that's 15. We got like a repeating thing going on here. This is going to be repeating 3s. So 13, I think, right? Okay, cool.